Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review on my new Chanel Reissue bag in the size small. I know I've only had this bag for about a little over a month now, but I've been using it a ton, and so I did notice a few things while I was using it. So I do have a few things to talk about, so I thought I'd share my review with you guys all. Of course I can do a follow-up review after I've used it for a little bit longer, but for now I wanted to share a few things with you. So firstly I'm going to go through the features of the bag in detail and show you all of the details of the bag. Then I'm going to talk about some pros and cons of the bag. Then I'm going to do a mini comparison between the Reissue bag and the classic flap bag in the size medium, which is the most comparable size to this Reissue bag. So if you guys are trying to decide between the Reissue bag and the classic flap, then you can get a bit more information on both bags. Or if you are thinking of adding the Reissue bag to your Chanel collection, then hopefully this video will be helpful. Then I'm going to show you how much you can fit in the bag. Then finally, I'm going to show you some modeling shots so you can see what the bag looks like on me. So I hope you guys find this video helpful, and let's get started. So I'm sure you guys all know that this bag is also referred to as the 2.55 bag because it is the original bag that Coco Chanel designed back in February of 1955. And for those of you who might be a little bit more new to the Chanel house, Coco Chanel was such a forward-thinking woman. So back in those days, women actually only had handheld bags, and Coco Chanel wanted to liberate the women from having to hold their handbags by creating a shorter bag so they have two hands free to do whatever that they need to do. And a lot of the design features are actually inspired by her upbringing in the orphanage as a child. So knowing the history about this bag just makes the bag that much more special. But anyway, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that. So my particular one is in the size small. So here in the luxe community, we also refer to this size as the size 225. So the Reissue bag comes in 4 different sizes. It comes in the mini, which we refer to as the size 224 in the luxe community, and that is a very similar size to a mini classic flap in the rectangular size. And then it comes in the small, which is this size, and we also refer to it as the size 225. And then it comes in a medium, which is slightly bigger, 226, and then the large as well, which is the 227. So size wise, small is my most favorite bag because it does fit enough essentials for me, but it can be used as a day bag or an evening bag because it is small enough to be an evening bag. In terms of measurements, this bag measures 24 centimeters from here to there across, and then it is 16 centimeters tall. And according to the Chanel website, it is about 7 centimeters in depth, but I did make a measurement and it is about 7.5 centimeters wide because it is slightly wider than the classic flap in the medium size. So my particular bag is in the color off-white. It is in the aged calf skin, which is the most common material for the Reissue bag. So it is calf skin, but it is distressed type of leather. So it is meant to withstand wear and tear better. Mine's in the chevron quilting instead of the diamond quilting. And the chevron quilting, in my opinion, makes this bag a lot more modern. And for hardware, it is in the light gold shiny hardware. So the Reissue bag is part of the classic range from Chanel, so they do make them every single season, just in different colors and finishes and different hardwares. But black aged calf skin with the brushed gold hardware is their classic combination. So every single season they should make that one. But in terms of different colors and different hardwares and different quilting pattern, they're all seasonal. So every season they're gonna have something different. So if you do see something that you really like that season that is not part of the classic combination, then you might as well pick it up because you never know when they're going to repeat the same combination, which is part of the reason that I picked up this bag at that particular timing, because I was meant to be on a shopping ban for a little bit longer, but I did break the ban a couple of weeks earlier because I knew once this is gone, I'm not going to be able to find this one very easily. Now, going through the features of the bag, it is a double flap bag, which means it has a flap design and it does have the 2 flaps to open into the interior of the bag. It does have this turn lock, which is called the Mademoiselle lock, which is different to the classic Chanel CC lock. And this is the lock Coco Chanel originally designed. So it is a rectangular lock with a turn lock in the middle. And engraved in the outside bit is a tiny little Chanel logo there. So this bag is a lot more understated than the classic flap because it doesn't have the huge CC logo. Instead, it's just got that tiny little bit of engraving there, which I really, really like. When you turn the bag around, it has that classic back pocket like the Chanel classic flaps. And I do use the back pocket a lot for parking tickets. I just make sure that the ink is dry before I put the ticket in because I don't want any color transfer from the ink. And I usually store the chain inside the bag like so, but let me take out the chain to show you guys. So the reissue bag usually comes with this beautiful full metal chain, which is called the beige chain. So it doesn't have any interwoven leather bits. It is completely metal and the chain has the most intricate design. So if you look closely, these middle pieces actually have really beautiful patterns on them. So the chain definitely adds to how beautiful this bag is. And now getting into the interior of the bag. Like I said before, it does have two flaps, so it's a double flap. So it has exactly the same construction as a classic flap. So it does have a zip pocket, which is really flat and small on the outside flap here. So it only goes up, which is really not very useful. It doesn't go down. And then between the outside flap and the inside flap is a secret little compartment. I usually store feminine products or anything that might be a bit more private. And then it's got an inner flap, which is the second flap, and you've got to open that to get into the bag. And inside of the second flap is the stitched CC logo and the made in stamp with the Chanel stamp. And my particular bag is made in France, which I love because it is a French house, so there's something special about made in France Chanel bags. And when you get into the inside of the bag, it is one big compartment with two small slip pockets and also a lipstick pocket right in the middle. And it's also got an extra slip pocket at the front. So that's what the bag looks like on the outside and the inside. Now I'm going to talk about the pros of the bag. So apart from the fact that it is absolutely stunning and a classic Chanel bag, it is very lightweight considering it's a double flap and it is a full leather lined bag. I can wear this bag all day long and I don't feel any pain, or I don't actually notice that it is heavy or anything like that, even when the bag is completely packed. I mean, it is a small bag, so I can't fit a ton in it, but still sometimes some small bags can also be very heavy. So the fact that it is lightweight is very comfortable. Also, it is very comfortable to wear because the leather is quite flexible. It is distressed calf skin, so it is a lot more smushy than the classic flaps. And at this point, I am going to show you my classic flap, so it is a bit easier to sort of understand what I'm talking about. So here I have the two flap bags. So this is the classic flap in the size medium in color beige clair. So what I was talking about, the leather, the reissue bag is a really pliable bag with the smushy leather, whereas the classic flap has a more stiff leather that is a lot more structured. So when you wear the classic flap, the bag stays very structured, so it doesn't really mold around your body. With the reissue bag, when you are wearing the bag, this back part is quite soft, so it is quite cushiony and comfortable to wear. So that is definitely something that I've noticed in the past month or so. The other pro is the fact that it is more versatile in terms of different ways you can wear it. So with this particular bag, you can wear it as a shorter bag, double strapped. You can also wear it as a single strap bag on your shoulder as a shoulder bag. I'm going to show you all the modeling shots at the end of the video, so stay tuned till the end. Also on the single chain, the chain is long enough to wear as a crossbody for my height, which is 164 centimeters, whereas with the classic medium size, the chain is too short even for my petite frame to wear as crossbody. The bag simply just sits too high. I mean, some people like that look. I don't love the look, so that is definitely a pro because it is much more versatile how you can wear the bag. And the other pro that I've noticed while I was using the bag is the fact that when you want to go from double strap to single strap, it's really easy to slide. So when you pull the other chain up and down, it just slides really easily and there's no friction. So as you can see, I can do that really easily with the reissue bag. And I don't think anyone's really talked about this in any of the reissue videos that I've come across, but that's certainly what I've noticed. So when you want to transition from single to double strap, it's just really easy to do so. As opposed to the classic flap, if you have a look, it is definitely possible, but when I try and make it single strap or double strap, there's definitely more resistance, so that actually makes me worry that the leather's going to start wearing if I keep doing that. So what I like to do with the classic flaps is that I actually open the flap to actually change the chain setting. And I think it is because of the interwoven leather bits in the chain that creates a bit more resistance. So I have definitely been finding that quite convenient to be able to just slide the chains through the loops quite easily. And the next pro is personally a pro for me, but it can be a con to someone else. But it is the fact that it is so understated. So if someone is not really into luxury handbags, they're not going to instantly recognize this as a Chanel bag. So for those times that you don't want to really show that you are wearing a designer bag, this bag is perfect. But it could also be a con because for some people, this is a total waste of money. One of my friends actually said that to me. She goes, why would you spend all that money in a reissue bag when you can't even tell that, you know, it is from Chanel, it doesn't have the logo on it? For some people, if you are spending this much money on a handbag, they want to show the world that it is a luxurious bag. But for me personally, I've really been into more subtle, understated bags lately. I just really like the fact that I know it is luxurious, but not everyone's gonna know what it is, and that really makes it that much more special in my heart. Now I'm gonna talk about the cons of this bag, and there are only a couple that I've noticed. The very first thing, and I knew this going into this purchase because a lot of other YouTubers have talked about this, but it is the turn lock. It is a little bit tricky to align to close this turn lock because the outside rectangle has to really align to the inside rectangle perfectly for you to be able to close it. I've been getting more used to it, but I've definitely noticed that it does need a little bit more work in closing and lining up this turn lock as opposed to your classic flap with the CC turn lock. So with this CC turn lock, you can literally just pop it down and bam, it just lines up perfectly and you can close it in 2 seconds with your eyes closed. So with the reissue bag, I definitely noticed that it is a little bit harder to close, but you just really need to get used to it, and I am definitely getting better at it, but that is definitely a con. The only other con that I actually have noticed is the fact that the bottom is not completely flat. So when you're trying to stand the bag on its own, on a flat bench or a table, depending on how you pack the bag and where the weight of the chain is, it tends to flop back or flop forward. So with the classic flap, it has a very flat bottom, so you don't actually have to worry about that. As soon as you pop it down on a table, it just stands on its own and you don't even have to think twice about it. Whereas this bag, you actually have to really carefully pop it down. And what I like to do is, because the bag has a little bit more weight to the front because of the flap and the turn lock, the bag is naturally going to be a little bit heavier at the front. So what I've noticed is the bag actually tilts down this way, forward down, when you pop it down on a table. So what I like to do is actually, when I stand the bag on a table, I make sure that the chain rests on the back side, because if the chain's actually at the front as well, that adds even more weight to the front part of the bag and it's definitely gonna fall forward. So it is a little bit of an extra thing to do, but I have found, I guess, a solution. So I definitely have found that to be another little con, and that's actually because the bottom of the reissue bag has that foldable line there. So when these bags come into store, they apparently come folded down, so the bag is foldable. So I've never done this, but let me demonstrate. This is kind of like the shopping bags, but it comes folded down like this. So when you are traveling, you're supposed to be able to fold it flat to make the bag a lot easier to transport. There are different theories as to why this bag has that added design feature. One theory is that Chanel designed it to be that way so that it makes for a good travel bag. And the other theory is that when Karl Lagerfeld found the original flat bag, that's how he found it, laying flat, folded. So we don't know what the actual true reason for that little foldable design feature is, but it is there. And I don't really intend to fold the bag that way because I want my bag to stay nice and straight, but that fold definitely makes for that little con that I've just discussed. So now I'm gonna show you how much you can fit in this bag, and it can definitely hold all my daily essentials. So I'll open up the bag and show you how much I can pack in the bag. So my absolute essential item for my everyday is my mini pochette. As you guys know, if you've been watching my videos for a while, I have all my little things that I need on a daily basis in there. So I've got my makeup needs, you know, cords, earphones, everything like that. So it fits perfectly like so. And then I'm using a card holder instead of a wallet at the moment as my mini wallet, and I usually pop it in front of the mini pochette, standing on its side. So as you can see, that fits perfectly. And because that card holder doesn't actually hold any coins, I do have my Hermes Bestia to hold all my coins, and that stands next to the card holder perfectly. So there you go. And finally, the only other item that I need every single day is my 6-key holder from Louis Vuitton. And I usually have my car key hanging outside, and that is how I fit that item. And that's pretty much everything that I need on a daily basis. And when I close the bag, and it actually closes perfectly, but as you can see, I'm still struggling to line up the locks to close the lock. So that is the bag full completely, and it doesn't look stretched or anything like that. So that's how much I've been carrying in this bag. If you guys do want to know if a full-sized wallet fits in this bag, then I'm also going to show you that it does. So I've taken out my card holder and the Bestia, and I'm going to replace those two items with a full-size wallet from Louis Vuitton. This is the Emily wallet. This is the only full-size wallet that I have in my collection. Everything else is compact size, and it fits in perfectly. So as you can see, it actually fits with the mini pochette and the 6-key holder perfectly. So you can definitely use a full-sized wallet in this little beauty. Now I'm going to show you some modeling shots. For reference, I am 164 centimeters, and that's 5'4". So this is the bag with the strap doubled up. It falls really comfortably around my waist. If you are using it in the evening, I think this is such an elegant way to carry this bag. And if you wanted to wear it a bit more casual on your one shoulder, this is the bag on one shoulder. And again, the strap drop is perfect as a shoulder bag. It falls really comfortably and perfectly. And like I've mentioned before, because this bag is smushy, it is really comfortable against your hip. So that is the bag on one shoulder. And like I've mentioned before, it is a really comfortable crossbody bag. So when you crossbody this bag, it falls perfectly around your hip bone. So that's where my hip bone is just there, and it just falls at the perfect height. So that is the bag as a crossbody. And then I wanted to show you a quick comparison in strap drops. So this is the classic flap with the reissue, and when you compare the strap drops, the reissue falls a little bit lower. So when you wear the bags on two straps, it's really not a big deal because this looks perfect as a shoulder bag anyway. So that's the comparison. And then here is the comparison in strap drop on one strap setting. And you can see a big difference between the two now. So the reissue drops a lot lower. But if you are wearing them as shoulder bags, it really still doesn't make a difference because one's just a little bit higher. But in my opinion, they both look great, like so. But the biggest difference is when you actually wear the bag as a crossbody bag. So like I showed you before, this is what the reissue looks like crossbody. And let me put the classic flap as crossbody now to show you a comparison. So here they are. As you can see, the classic flap is just way too high for my liking. So that is the difference. But let me show you the classic flap as a crossbody on its own so you can get the full idea. So that is the classic flap, medium size, as a crossbody bag. And as you can see, it looks kind of really short and it's not very comfortable. But if you do like high crossbody bags, then by all means it is possible to wear, but I'm just not the biggest fan of this aesthetic. So I'm sure you can tell already, but my verdict is that I definitely recommend the reissue bag from Chanel. But if you are looking for your first Chanel bag, I still recommend a classic flap bag because it is the more well-known design and it will definitely stand the test of time because it's been around for so long and there is a really good resale value with the classic flaps. So if you one day decide to move on or if you have a reason to sell it on to put the money towards something else, you can definitely get a lot of money back for your Chanel classic flap bags. And I definitely still think that the classic flaps are more iconic. But like me, if you've already got one or two Chanel classic flaps, then I do definitely think that the reissue bag is a really fantastic addition to your collection. There is just something special about the fact that it was the original design by Coco Chanel and it makes for a really beautiful understated bag. And like I mentioned before, it is really easy to wear on your shoulder or crossbody and it does transition from day to night really easily. So the versatility is definitely there. So I absolutely recommend this bag. So that's it for my review of the Chanel reissue bag. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it helpful if you are in the market for one or if you like your Chanel bags or luxury bags in general. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will do a follow-up review after using it for a lot longer so that I can show you wear and tear as well, especially it being a light colored bag. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I'd love to have you back. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending some time with me today, and I can't wait to see you again soon in my next video. Bye guys.
You're my bitter one, taking me home. One thing really do want. You see that you're the worst, but I don't know. Is that true?